what is encryption? Encryption is the process of modifying information so it can only be understood by authorized parties. So on the left, I have Sam here. Sam wants to send a message to Alice. This is a secret. We're going to use encryption to scramble it so that nobody but Sam and Alice can read it. And then Alice will decrypt the message and recover the initial secret. How does this work? Well, at a fundamental level, encryption relies on an algorithm and a key. And only people who know the algorithm and have the key can unscramble the data. Let's talk about encryption in transit. On the internet, your data goes through lots and lots of other computers. I always think it's funny when I get an email and at the bottom of the email there's a disclaimer that says the contents of this message and any attachments are confidential, because it's misleading. They're not. Sending an email across the internet is like sending information on a postcard. Same with text messages. You should assume that those messages can be read and are read, that they're copied, that anybody can see them. So even if you think the postman is not reading all of your letters, you probably wouldn't send lots of sensitive information on a postcard, right? There's lots of good reasons to not do that. Same thing on the internet. We want to make sure that we are putting our messages in an envelope, and that's what encryption can do for us. It helps us put those messages in an envelope, seal them up so that nobody can read them. All right, so encryption in transit is where we protect data as it is transferred across the network. One of the best ways to do this, or one of the technologies needed to do this, is asymmetric key encryption. So that's a very fancy way of saying we have a pair of keys. One key can lock data up and the other key unlocks it. That's it. It's also known as public key encryption, and what one key locks, the other key unlocks. So you can see in this diagram, I have a secret. I will use the encryption algorithm and the recipient's public key. I lock it up, and now nobody else can read it, and only the person with the private key can decrypt the message. End-to-end encryption is when you control the private key. So the key is actually on your computer, not in the cloud. And we see this used all the time in applications like Signal, for example, where if there's a third party, even if they are, let's say they work for Signal, the employees of Signal cannot eavesdrop on your conversation, even if they really want to. You have the only keys on your phone, and the recipient will have a key on their phone as well. So the downside of this is that you must keep track of your key. If you lose your key, you lose any data that's encrypted, that's been encrypted with it. End-to-end encryption is used in email, and you may have heard of secure email where someone sends a link to your mailbox and you click on it and you go to a web portal and you type in a password. That is not true encrypted email. That's more like using a web portal. Real end-to-end encrypted email is sent directly to your inbox. It can be done very conveniently. The way it's done is with public-private key encryption. You have the recipient's public key. You use that to encrypt their messages. Only they can open it with their private key. You may have a passphrase too that's used in combination to help keep things more secure. Again, this is Sherry Davidoff, CEO of LMG Security. If you have any questions, please reach out anytime. We'd love to hear from you. You can email us at info@lmgsecurity.com or find us on LinkedIn and follow us on Twitter. Thanks so much for joining, and we'll see you next time.